Hey folks, welcome back to another HP Gaming GameLINK video. I know we've had a bit of a hiatus because Christmas has just been bonkers busy for December this year, but we are back. We have another Kickstarter unboxing for you just in time for Christmas. What are we going to be unboxing today? We're going to be taking a look at an RPG, and that is going to be filled with all sorts of undead, spectacular madness, and a lot of stress as we take a look at Free League's The Walking Dead universe. Welcome back, my friends. I am very honored and privileged to have you joining me once again. For those of you who don't know me, and you should by now, my name is Matt, and I'm very excited to go through all of this chaos with you. Today, as I said in the tease before, we are looking at the Walking Dead universe RPG from Free League. Now, this is a Kickstarter that has arrived. We had the PDF versions arrive as well, which is very exciting. But this is the physical product, which is just, I don't know, it's just so much cooler. We have a few extra things off camera that I'm going to go through as well, but this is the starter set that was released. The artwork is boss. And this is a much more intense role-playing experience that deals with themes that are probably not appropriate for junior gamers, i.e. I think the recommended age for this is 16 plus. So MA15 equivalent here in Australia. But yes, it's an RPG using the Year Zero engine, which is similar to our Alien RPG, which you can see on the shelf behind me, maybe, on this side. And you can check out the unboxing for that over here. But it's much more visceral, and obviously has many, many themes of body horror and things like that as well. Morality decisions. Yeah, basically puts you in the shoes of, excuse me, a survivor in the wasteland following the collapse of society as we know. Plastic, of course, goes on the floor because that's how we do things in the afterworld. But this is effectively an RPG that is steeped in dramatic decisions and morality issues based on who lives, who dies, all that sort of stuff. What would you do? What are you willing to do to survive? So let's flip it over. There you go, you've got that on the overhead there for you. You can see the starter set, you know, is going to have all sorts of bells and whistles in it because that's what Free League does. They do some amazing stuff. The Alien core box, obviously, a starter set, sorry, had all the dice, everything else was cards, maps. This, I believe, will be no exception. It has a starter adventure which runs like a season. So instead of it being a campaign, they refer to it in the seasons, i.e. as in the TV show. So, I really want to run this, but anyway, let's get to it. So we're just going to pop that on here for now. We have a whole massive stuff. So games catalog for all the Free League stuff. There is all sorts of stuff they're doing there, which is great. We have the dice we'll go through. Oh no! Oh, silica gel. Don't eat that. We'll get rid of that one. We have a threat meter because as the hordes move around the map and move through the world that you're creating for the story you're telling, the threat meter will dictate how they behave and respond. So keep it down low if you can. The threat meter will sit like this. You've got little connectors to put that together. And then you can see other bits and pieces here. They've got some pre-filled, pre-genned characters that you can run as, which is very, very awesome as well. And they're sort of not sitting quite flush, so let's get those out. Let's take a look at everything that's in the box here. You know what, let's put the box to the side. So we have character sheets here. So true to the Year Zero engine and to the Alien RPG as well, one thing that differs from, say, D&D, for example, which I know very, very well, hit points in Walking Dead universe don't exist. They do exist, but we're not talking like starting at level 1 on 10 hit points or 12 hit points. We're talking about starting on 4 hit points, and that's it. You don't gain any more. So, you know, look after them. They're very valuable and precious. And there are things that can kill you in an instant, i.e. if you get hit with an arrow to the head, you can't just pop a healing potion. You will die. it's a whole thing. So you've got here Cecilia Hart or Cecil, depending on how you play. So there's roles for male, female genders, or gender neutral, depending on what your preference is. Descriptions, issues, about to have a breakdown, can't live without Rebecca, so that's the drive. There's different character options based on that. And then you get the attributes and skills here, talents, health. So you've got 3 hit points. That's it. Unharmed, bruised, battered, broken. Broken is bad. Don't do that. Stress. Now the stress mechanic is something I really, really like. For those of you who played Year Zero Engine before, you eventually get, it's a D6 game. Eventually you'll have the opportunity to potentially take a point of stress. So instead of rolling just the base dice, you'll add 1 stress dice to your dice pool, which increases the chance of success. But if you roll a 1 or a failure on a stress die, you go into a panic. And that is when things get absolutely chaotic. And I love that sort of sense of mounting dread as you move through the scenario, taking those points of stress when you might walk into a room and from another room you hear something moving in the distance, and it sort of amps that stress level up, which is very, very cool. And that's at the GM's discretion, which I love too. You've got Ali, Isaac, Ibrahim. You've got different abilities on the back as well, secrets, etc. So secrets, obviously, you don't divulge to the other players. That's very cool. So these are all pre-gen character sheets, but I have a feeling that in this as well, there is also some other bits and pieces too. For example, you have NPCs from the TV series. Carol, for example, is an NPC, and you've got all the information here. There is a character sheet, so you can play as these characters if you wish and explore the universe too. You have Glenn. Very sad. So stories you tell obviously would be dictating prior to the events of everything else. No spoilers. Some spoilers. Michonne is here as well. And then you have Gabriel too, which is very cool. I do like that. And then, of course, you have, in true starter set fashion, a dirty great big map of the area. So this is northeast Georgia. And you have the whole laid out. I don't know if you can see that completely on the overhead. But you've got Atlanta down here. You have Athens. You have Tallulah Falls, Owltown, National Forest. So you can go to any of these places and explore what they look like. You've got Silver City down here as well, which is very cool. So it'd be very interesting to see what these places look like in the afterworld. So let's flip that one over, and then you have a close-up version of Virginia, or Southwest Virginia, I should say. So you've got Roanoke, Blue Ridge Mountains, Lynchburg, and so on and so forth. It just gives you a map to play on. And you play through the overland maps and move your groups, your party. In addition, you can also place out horde tokens as to where these zombie hordes are as they move across the fields as well, which just adds that sense of dread, and I dig it. So we've got other maps here, and these are scenario maps for the scenario that's included in the starter set, and obviously they can be used for other things. This is some sort of compound, whether this is for your group or something else, who knows. It looks like it's been done on Incarnate, but that's we'll keep that between us. You've got fields, and you've got all these different things, compounds, entrances for the trucks. Someone's run a truck through the field. Maybe that's inherited by walkers now, who knows. They are just single-sided, but I like the idea that you can place that out in front of the players. You have another sort of town here. You have crashed cars. You have what looks to be some sort of gas station or something like that. There's more things to find. I dig it. There's just so many different things to explore. And then, of course, another map here as well. Now, this looks like it is some sort of campsite. There's a tent down here. Rubble, rock, train line, all sorts of chaos. I kind of dig that too. And then, of course, you have the survival mode scenario, the Wolves' Den, which is very, very cool. So that's the base scenario that comes with the starter set. And then you have the rule book for the base rules of the game. Now, these are more of a quick start setup. I'll show you what some of these look like here. Let's move this out of the way a little bit. Designer details, etc., maps, etc. These are simplified version of the rules to get you running the game quick sticks. So rules for players and GM as well. But it's a third. Rules for players and GM as well. But I think obviously scenario is kept just for the GM, which is information in the world. Dead principles of the game, how it works, do whatever it takes. Death is inescapable. Do whatever it takes to survive. You are never safe in this game, even in your own compound, in the safety of your group's haven. There could be forces at work that could be causing trouble. You're telling a story, stress and anchors, how that all works, how to use skills, means and ends, etc. Messing up if you fail, in other words. So say you decide you want to take a shot with a revolver at an enemy or a walker who's moving away from you, and you miss. The shot rings out, hits a metal container, bang! And all of a sudden all the walkers that you didn't know were there start to make their way forward, and now instead of dealing with one, you're dealing with 20. Chaos reigns supreme. Take a point of stress for that one, by the way. Dueling with people, brawls, all that chaos. I love it. Damage and healing. How armor works, critical injuries. So you roll 2d6, and as a result, or sorry, a d66, I should say. That could be chaos. If you roll a 66, an impaled heart, you die. Don't do that. Don't roll a 66. Other hazards, explosions, how to relieve stress, so on and so forth. I should say. This is just the starter rulebook. There is a ton of stuff that isn't in here. It's so good. How to fight swarms of zombies as opposed to just one or two. That is fantastic as well. How the walkers attack, how to clear them out of the area. So good. So good. Now, the scenario is called The Wolves Den. Now, I do have a PDF of this, so I do know a little bit about it. Effectively, you are looking for some missing people of your group. They've left, and they've taken supplies with them. So you need those supplies back. You need to ask them and find out what's going on. It's all a bit of chaos. There is the wolves as well. So you've got here Blue Ridge Mountains. You've got tent area we saw before, Raven Hill and Evergreen. How the scenario works. The campsite. You find evidence that they've been taken. The wolves, now you remember from the TV series, the wolves were the guys who have the W carved into their heads. They have taken your companions along with the supplies back to their site, and you'll have to do whatever you can, whatever's necessary to get those supplies back. Otherwise, you may find that your group starts to starve. High stakes. And you can see Raven Hill, the map there that was laid out. Different bits and pieces. I don't want to go through too much of this because it's spoilers. There you go, you can see Owen, wolves with the W symbol there. Wolves were bad news, absolutely bad news. And there's the wolves compound at Evergreen. How that all works, interactions with NPCs, etc. How to end the scenario. Oh, I love it. So good. And I think the beauty of this is because there is so much more of the Walking Dead universe that was never explored in the TV series and the subsequent series, you have free reign. And I just did that so much. So these are standard dice here. So these are your main dice for your skill checks. They work 2 successes on 10d6. The good thing is most things only need 1 success to roll. So that's actually not a bad roll. But usually when I do a skill check, I would have maybe 4 dice max. And that's not great. So rolling 6s is good. Rolling 1s, particularly on stress dice, is bad. Now the stress dice, they do have different symbols on them because, yay. Now you can use standard D6. You don't need to have these particular sets of dice, i.e. if you just got the PDF, but have 2 distinct types because obviously you need to have normal dice plus stress dice for when you add them in. The stress dice have, I love that they're etched too, which is awesome. Stress dice are red. As a 1, they have a walker hand, zombie hand, which is not great. Don't roll that. So if I was to do a skill check and roll those bad boys 2 successes, no failures, I'm okay. But if I was to roll 4 dice with a stress and I rolled that, that would cause panic. I may misfire my weapon. I may kill one of my party members. Just don't panic. Don't panic. Remember what happened, I think it was season 5? Season 6? No, season 5, I think, where they were leading the party. Alexandra got overrun by walkers and the kid made too much noise. Oh, chaos. Absolute chaos. So yes, again, That sort of thing can happen in this game. Do not play it with children. I don't know. I just, there's something about the idea of having all the walkers run rampant. It's so good. All right, let's put this one together quickly because I know that we've got lots to get through today. So we're gonna put this one through here. This one's gonna come through the back here. And then we've got our threat meter sorted. And we can start talking about the hordes and all the chaos that goes there. Oh, don't spill, gosh. Leave the threat meter on 6. I do like the fact that the hand symbol, and we can see there, is set so that no matter where you turn the dial, the hand symbol is a complete picture, which is very clever, very simple. I dig it. So we'll put that on 1 for now. There we go, threat meter done. All right, now that is the starter set contents, which is awesome, but we do have some extras for you because that's what we do, and because if I'm going to run this, I want to do it right. So I have Game Master screen, which has all the reference materials in it. Now, I will say this, the Free League stuff, particularly for the Year Zero stuff, the panels for the GM's screens are only 3 panels. They're not your traditional DM 4 panel screens, but I don't mind that. It keeps things a bit clean, gives me more space on the table to obviously put all my Walker minis out. Zombicide, great games to use for this because you can grab the minis out of the box and use them as the Walker armies, which is very cool. Plastic on the floor. Game Master screen, a bit of paper there, which basically says what is on the box. What I dig about this is you've got this cool artwork here, and you'll see there's a W there. This guy's a wolf. And as you open this out, you have this sick artwork, which I don't know if you can see all here. I'm going to try and get it all up on the overhead. So you've got these guys here. This guy, is it Andrew? The guy with the mace for their hand after he got it cut off. That's very cool. And then you've got obviously the wolves, and then you've got more of the walkers there as well. On the reverse, you have all the information you need to help you run the game at reference. So you've got close combat weapons, ranged weapons, messing up in combat, threat levels, swarm attack, animals, and how to interact with animals in the wild, because the animals get to take the world back. Walker attacks, you are overwhelmed by walkers that tear the flesh from your bones, you are dead. They come after you, but you got away, take 1 point of stress. Just a small scratch, but within days the infection will take root and you will die. Your only chance is to carve off the infected meat within 1d6 hours, take 2 points of damage. Maiming yourself is a thing in this game. NPC reactions there as well. Complete reference material, I dig it. And when you set it up, like, it's simple enough to allow you to run the game, cause trouble, and then when someone rolls for a walker attack, you've got the reference material. It's so simple, so good. Oops, it would help if I folded it up correctly. So that is a GM screen. I do like that as a presence on the table as well. It looks spectacular, and there's always that fear of dread, which is very cool. But this, my friends, is what we're all about. This is the Deluxified Core rulebook, and look at that. Look at it. Look at it. Take in its gloriousness. This is the core rulebook, incomplete form, not incomplete. It is complete. The deluxified version of the rulebook for the Walking Dead Universe RPG by Free League, and it's got a cloth cover. So I'm going to rip the plastic off this sucker, throw that on the floor. Free League's logo there. Oh, it feels so good. I have no idea if the camera's doing this justice, but this is a thing of beauty. Now, I will say, rules-wise, not a lot to digest. It's not as involved as the Alien Core rulebook. The Alien Core rulebook is freaking huge, but I like they've kept this simplified. Obviously, it allows for expansions and things down the track, other modules to run, but this is a simplified, not a simplified, this is the full rulebook for Walking Dead as an RPG. But I like that it's not a lot to digest. You can get into it and then just run with it and interpret the rules as you see fit. As a GM, you can do whatever you like. So I just love that. Oh. Northeast Georgia, Silver City there again. Now this is the full rule book, so I won't go through all this, but you've got here introductions, the world of the dead, skills, talents, running, solo play. I did know about that, but I'd forgotten about it. That's That's awesome. Maybe I'll do a recording of a solo mode play. Wow. Soloing with a swarm. Badass. Badass. The Golden Ambulance. That's new. I just love the artwork. I mean, look at this. You got Rick and his crew coming back into Atlanta. How to role play, what the game master does, player characters, etc. Being in a group of survivors. Anchors to the game modes. You've got campaign mode, survival mode, different seasons, which means you could effectively have people drop in and drop out of play as they live, die, or otherwise. Characters can change as players mess up, make mistakes, etc. World that was, world that is, people who survive, etc. And I love you got this flavor text here as well, which is very cool, and talks about characters that are in the starter set. Different classes: homemaker, farmer, law enforcement, the kid, I love that, outcast, the nobody, the preacher, the politician, you could play as the governor, and I do that, scientists, soldiers, so on and so forth. Plenty of options for you to create backgrounds for your characters as well, and there's no reason that you couldn't speak to your GM and create something totally, completely homebrew if you want to. Stress dice, pushing the roll, talents, etc. You can be a criminal, critical injuries, as we saw before. Haven, which is your base of operations where you can rest and reduce your stress level. Sometimes you may not want to do that. How to prep campaigns, how to run campaigns, faction types, faction assets, different havens, enemy havens, groups that can obviously have issues, secret issues that the players have at the start of the game that might not be obviously revealed until later on, which creates drama, tension, and probably adds stress dice as well. How to travel distance, NPC encounters while you travel. And these NPCs based on different names for you as well. So it's got a complete breakdown of stuff. And there's plenty of options here to just run with it. I mean, if you run 2 or 3 campaigns, you're still not going to run out of all these folks. NPCs and animals. Animals you might find: alligators, bears, dogs, a venomous snake, trained watchdog, a wolf, and a wolverine is in there as well. What happens when PCs mess up, etc. NPCs from the TV series. Playing survival mode, different scenarios for you as well. Atlanta campaign setup, so it gives you a rundown of the mini campaign that's included in this book. And there is Northern Georgia map, swarms and locations where everything is. The Golden Ambulance, this is a short survival mode scenario. So it gives you a bit of a rundown of how to play a game in a survival session, which I think is one session about 4 or 5 hours worth. And then different appendices for walkers, how they are described. So if you have a group that comes into a place where there's a walker, they can roll D66, so 2D6, 1 for 10s, 1 for singles, and they can talk about the walker's past, any wounds they have. For example, I roll 2D6 and I might get a waiter, so a guy who's dressed maybe in a busboy's jacket with a bow tie maybe. It's all decrepit and disheveled, obviously they've been a walker for some time. And then I might say, okay, there's spear wounds on the legs from someone who's tried to jab them in the past, or whatever the case may be. Might be a hole in the chest with intestines hanging out of the guts. It's just descriptions at random. I love it. It's fantastic. Lots of different things going on for different locations, how that works, non-player characters, etc. Scavenging for resources. So you roll 3d6 and that gives you what you find. There is a lot of things to find. Instructions on where to find a storehouse filled with canned goods, but it could be a trap. Solo tools, solo play, starting in a newly established haven, playing as obviously both the GM and the solo survivor as well. Love that. That's fantastic. I will be exploring that. Progression clocks, themed oracle, how it all works, relationships, etc. Solo rumors, solo procedures. Oh my gosh. I love the fact that there's a solo mode. Obviously you've got character sheets at the back here as well, which is very, very cool. And I believe you can print those off reference points as well. Again, that map of Northeast Georgia. And that, my friends, is the entirety of the core rulebook and the chaos that is the Walking Dead universe role-playing game. I can't decide. I think, the Alien RPG is fantastic because the lore is just amazing. The lore for this, though, allows for a lot more freeform creativity, and that's where I shine as a game master and as a DM. So, which would I prefer? Both. It's a no-brainer. This and these two in D&D. I've got an SG1 role-playing game as well now. I do find that the prep and the enjoyment of being a GM is just overshadowing almost my drive to play board games. Don't get me wrong. When the board games come out to the table, I'm there. I'm in. But there's just something about creating a world and watching players run through it and run into absolute chaos. Oh, it means so much to me. My international gamers, you know who you are. I appreciate your undivided attention to run amok and run rampant and try to push the envelope and spectacularly fail. I love it. It just makes me feel alive, and I really enjoy the experiences that we create. But that is it, folks. That is the contents of the starter set, the core rulebook, and the GM screen for Walking Dead Universe role-playing game. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see a solo mode of this played through, or maybe a couple of sessions, maybe a survival session. We could record one, maybe do a live stream. If you have a copy of this and you have played the Walking Dead Universe, how was your experience? Did you enjoy it? Did you not so much? Please let me know in the comments below. Plenty more bits and pieces coming your way. We have some more Kickstarters that arrive. We have some reviews of a couple of horror games. We have a new one from Grail Games. We also have, for those of us here in Australia, and maybe later, some of those for you for the rest of the world, a GM or DM masterclass where you can bend worlds to your will. Look out for more information about that in the new year. Until then, folks, please let me know in the comments below what you think of this one. I'd love to hear your thoughts. We have memberships available as well, so we've got some membership-only content that's coming onto the channel too. If you have questions, thoughts, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll get back to you when I can. Until then, though, folks, I want you to get out there, play games with your family over the Christmas break. Have an amazing holiday. Merry Christmas from all of us here at HP Gaming. We'll see you back in between Christmas and New Year's, and also in the New Year with more epic stuff as well. In a different setup, because this room is being converted into something else. As always, folks, get out there, be social, be kind. Above all else, be kind to one another. And we'll see you back here for more epic gaming content very, very soon. Until then, though, it is bye for now.